What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of MUT Tips. I'm your host, Sean Taylor from the Made Up Theater. Before we jump in, make sure to like the video, comment with something you would like addressed in a future video, and as always, subscribe on YouTube to be informed of upcoming videos. Ring that bell. Now, let's jump into today's topic, change it up. This episode is all about making changes because let's face it, sometimes in improv, we get into routines where we may play the similar characters or just perform similar formats or specific games. You know, there's a lot of things that we sometimes just get stuck in, and then it becomes a comfort zone, and then we need to just burst out of that comfort zone and try something different and to indeed change it up. And right now, I'm changing it up right now because I'm gonna start doing MUT Tips for the time being on the stage because we're actually doing shows back here live on YouTube. Whereas before, we were doing it in our living room. And I'll admit, it did turn into a kind of a routine between myself, Bobby, and Ben. And we needed a little change. So coming here last Saturday night was just a breath of fresh air. We got to play on our old stage again and not be confined to a small living room space. And it's a lot of fun, and it took us a little bit out of our comfort zone. I got a little nervous during that show, and that's a good thing. When we try and change it up and it makes us nervous, that's a good thing. It means we care. So let's start changing it up, but first, let's start with you and just your life, okay? I'll get to improv in just a moment, but do you find yourself sometimes in a routine? You know, especially right now, I think a lot of us are in a kind of routine because this whole shelter-in-place time has just changed everything, but now we've been in it for so long that we're probably back to a type of routine. For a while, I was waking up in the morning, playing some Animal Crossing for like an hour, eating waffles with peanut butter and syrup with my little iced coffee, and it was turning into a routine, and at a point I had to be like, I need to change something. So I stopped playing Animal Crossing in the morning, and I started trying different stuff. Like maybe I tried doing yoga in the morning just to kind of wake myself up. And then I started taking some classes as well, which kind of changed my routine on a few days as well. So it all just starts with just simple changes that we can just easily do. And by doing something different, it starts to, invigorate you a little bit. And again, the change does not need to be complicated. It can be simple. Like for example, some nights I'm just like, when I go to bed, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna sleep opposite tonight, you know? I'm gonna have my head on the opposite side of the bed this time. I don't know, sometimes it helps me go to sleep a little bit easier because I've tried something different and it just allows me to readjust my brain a little bit. I don't think about things that maybe went wrong during the day or think about the news. I'm in a different position, which just triggers an instant change in my mentality, especially before going to bed. So try that. Like, I don't know, maybe when was the last time you actually changed your room layout? Like maybe you shift your bed to a different wall or just kind of make it not perpendicular, but make it parallel towards the window wall. Something like that, right? You know, when was the last time you took a shower at night as opposed to the morning? Try that out just one day. It just kind of makes you feel a little different, right? Try just something new out. Maybe go for a run at night, or maybe watch a genre of movie that you don't watch normally. Something different, change it up because it changes this up. A great way to start changing it up is to consult somebody, or maybe your troupe or a group of people you know well and you can have honest conversations with. It could even be a teacher or a mentor, and ask them to define you as an improviser, okay? And a few ways to define someone are like, you know, what are their go-to characters, you know? Maybe if they do short form improv a lot, what's a game that they like to play a lot, you know? It's a go-to game. Or if they're a long form improviser, what are some go-to formats? Or go-to like story beats that maybe they go to a lot. Like, oh, maybe they play a character who is a backstabber a lot in stories. Or maybe they play a side character who's just kind of like the fun character. Or maybe they play the protagonistic character a lot, you know? There's a lot of things, you know, you can define emotions that maybe they go to a lot. Are they a witty improviser or are they a character-based improviser? Just kind of take that all in and try something different maybe the next time you perform. Like for example, if they say, oh, you know what? You're kind of like a more like really intellectual improviser. Like, you know, you're very smart. You like to reference history or specific moments in, you know, time and space and science. You're really smart. So try to play characters that are maybe a little bit, not necessarily like dumb characters, but just more physical characters, you know? maybe you're just kind of bouncy and playful in a scene, you know? Or just not so much, you know, using improv from your mouth, but with your body. Like maybe you play a character who just doesn't talk, an animal or something. Lots of stuff that can be found by getting feedback from someone, again, you trust. And make sure you have like, you know, a little conversation beforehand to just say, hey, we're not gonna give each other like critiques or notes. I just want you to define me and I will define you. And from there, we know where to start when it comes to changing it up. Thank you so much, everybody, for checking out this episode of MUT Tips. I really appreciate it. This was fun to actually get on stage and do MUT Tips here. Like a little side thing, MUT Tips, you know, it's kind of changed it along the way in terms of just how I film it. When I first started, I was doing it in front of a green screen, and then I was doing it in the audience at our theater, and then I did it at home for a bit in front of my webcam, and now I'm on stage. And you know what? It helps me. Gotta change it up sometimes. Thanks, everybody. Subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to do some live shows too, so ring that bell to be notified of when we're live. But still, you could check out uploads throughout the week on YouTube and other social media pages. Go to madeuptheater.com for more information about what we do. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next time for another episode of MUT Tips. Bye.